On today's edition of Ceiling Fan or Tornado Machine, we have a Casablanca Lady Delta. This fan is in polished brass, and this is probably one of the nicest looking, in terms of best condition, fans that I own right now. I mean, it almost has a shine like a chrome fan does. I'm sure you can see me and all the shit in the room in the frame. But, yeah. Let's get a look at the tag. I'm not sure how well you can see it because the little film piece is still on there, and I don't want to take it off because I think that's cool. But this is from 1996. I forget the month, but if I care, I'll put it in later. 42-inch dark wood blades. And I really like this combination. I've had it in my room for about a week now, and I think it works pretty well. On top, you can see it's got the standard K55 motor and the classic Casablanca pull fob. Start off on low before I ramble too much. So yeah, this is when they were still using K55 before they moved on to XLP or XTR or any of that stuff. So yeah, this fan came from Marketplace, and at this point it's a shock if it doesn't come from there, because that's pretty much how I acquire all my stuff now, since there is like no habitat within a 1 trillion mile radius that even sells fans anymore. But yeah, this was in Darien, Connecticut, I believe. Yeah, it was part of like a apartment complex, and I've gotten a couple like fans from or actually I don't even think it's an apartment, but more like a condo or something. But I've gotten quite a few fans from those types of places, and I'm always shocked that these even come out of there, because I mean, I guess it's part of a remodel, so they'd be gone whether I bought it or not. But it was one of those places that's like, you know, completely white on the inside, the gray model, if you know what I mean. But yeah, the story with this one was that the dude who sold it to me said that his electrician took it down and he didn't want it anymore, but his electrician refused to throw it away because he said this was just too good of a fan just to throw out. And I agree, and I'm glad that he didn't throw it out. And then it went on Marketplace for like $30. If I had time, I probably could have haggled to like 15 or 20, but I think it was like right before I went back to school or something, so there was no point in trying that. And definitely did not overpay. This came totally complete. In the picture, the fan is laying on its blade, so it's like, oh great, another warped flywheel situation, but that must have been just for a photo, because the flywheel's totally fine. It was sitting on the switch cap when I got it, but that's not scratched either, so all around pretty good. Let's go to medium. You can see a hole there for if you wanted to put a second pull chain in for a light kit, because Casablanca was different for some reason, and they sold their light kits with no chains, so you just had to either have a wall switch or put one in afterwards. So this right here is kind of what a high speed would be like on any regular 42-inch fan that you would buy at like either Home Depot or Lowe's. And when I've used this, I've never used it above medium speed except for a couple very few exceptions. And you might see why in a moment. Because yeah, it's already putting out really good air. If I already mentioned this, I'll edit it out, but yeah, sorry for not being able to get the 60 FPS thing. I think this fan doesn't have a light kit, and I guess there's not enough natural light coming in today, so it is what it is. And let's go to high speed. Yeah. You have not lived until you have turned one of these things on in person and felt it. This is insane. See, most companies, when they made smaller fans, they increase the blade pitch, use a different smaller motor, put lower capacitor values, just anything to make it not insanely fast for most applications. But I guess Casablanca just said, fuck that, let it fly. And that's why people love these. This is probably one of the most powerful 42-inch fans to ever exist. And what's crazy is that it would go even faster with 36-inch blades, or with 36-inch span, because that was also a thing with the Lady Deltas. Yeah, literally tornado. To be fun, let's reverse it. And when it's in reverse, you would never actually use this speed, like, for any normal application if it's winter. But this thing goes so fast in reverse that it actually takes air out and pushes it out the door over there. So it just becomes like a ventilation system. So yeah, just nuts. Let's turn it off. See, overall, like, no bearing noise either. It has like the absolute slightest wobble in reverse, but in forward it does not wobble at all. It's just really one of the nicest condition fans I've ever gotten, so probably going to hold on to this one. I've also wanted a Lady Delta for a really long time, but for some reason they just haven't showed up, and I kind of went pretty out of my normal radius to get this one. I tried to get a Snow White one that I actually did have, which I might have talked about in another video, but I mean, I guess I could still make it a complete fan if I find a parts fan, but it was laying like on its blades, like inside of a box or something, so the flywheel was totally warped, the blade arms were warped. It was missing the black wire in the motor, which is pretty important if you know anything about electricity, so it was done, and it had a K1 fitter that was crushed. It looked like it literally. Would not even be surprised if the fan fell, and then that's why they sold it. But that aside, that is the Casablanca Lady Delta ceiling fan from 1996, polished brass, dark wood blades, and a non-recalled hang true.